Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Aston Villa away today in the Premier League, 7:30 p.m. kickoff. I've got Jamie Brown from the Daily Hotspur with me. The team lineup will be out in just a few minutes' time. Jamie, welcome to the channel again. Thanks so much for coming on. A huge game for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club today. Of course, we go into this game. After this game, it's the international break. A win today after the West Ham United v Arsenal game earlier on. Both teams drew 3-3. A win today for Tottenham could take us sixth, only 3 points away from top four. How are you feeling?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, firstly, we definitely need a response today. I think that's the biggest thing. Whether we'll get it, it'll be very interesting to see. I think we've said this lots of times in the season where we've had a poor result and we just haven't responded. So I have my doubts over whether we'll be able to respond today, but I know there's been obviously lots of rumours kind of flying about of very different lineups, and Jose Mourinho really looking for a reaction by possibly really changing up the team. So hopefully the people that do come in today are going to really make some sort of impact and maybe freshen things up. So I do have some confidence in that kind of aspect, but you know, we have seen from this team in multiple occasions, they're not ones to respond. But it's a huge game for us because we are, yes, obviously we're at the Europa League and that's disappointing. There's no FA Cup, very difficult League Cup final against Manchester City. So this is perhaps maybe our one thing that we're clinging on for. And as you said, we are just about within the race for the top four. So it's going to be a very interesting one today.
It's amazing, really, Jamie, isn't it, that the season has been so up and down, but we are still in contention for that top four place, including tonight's game. We've got 10 games left in the Premier League. Jose Mourinho has said last week, particularly after the Arsenal game, that the players went missing. Obviously, he was very unhappy. Hugo Lloris, a lot of players were very unhappy, are unhappy right now. Do you see a lot of changes? I know the team lineup is just a few minutes away, but do you see a lot of changes being made today? The likes of Tanganga coming in, perhaps Joe Rodon, Giovanni Lo Celso perhaps getting his first start, since last year, and Carlos Vinicius perhaps getting a rare start for Spurs as well. In the Premier League.
I think there has to be. I think there does have to be. I mean, you saw the attitude against Dynamo Zagreb just wasn't good enough, and the same against Arsenal as well, to not turn up in arguably our biggest game of the season. One that fans are all totally up for, that desperate to win, and to just not show up. I think as much as I do think there was an element of tactics, and maybe we didn't quite get it right against Arsenal, we didn't get it right against Zagreb. I think there was also attitude problems in that team, and there just wasn't players that were good enough, that showed the right attitude. So there does need to be changes today. So that's something that I'm kind of holding on to. As I said, I think when in the past we've had poor results, we kind of think, well, now's the opportunity to bounce back, and we never do. So perhaps we are going to make drastic changes, as maybe there has been talk about. Then I think that's the real positive, and I definitely think there needs to be a number of changes today, and I'm quite excited to see what they can do.
Jamie, I love to try and stay positive about this team, but it has been a very, very grim week, isn't it? There's a lot of very unhappy Tottenham fans out there. So, tonight, not only can we go sixth and 3 points away from that top four, but as you said earlier on, it is all about the reaction, and it is about turning this season around because, for a club of our size, for the stadium that we've got, the manager that we've got, the players we've got, to get European football, whether it be Europa League or Champions League football at that stadium next season, is an absolute must, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, look, the Thursday was a serious crushing blow, I think, because I had a really good feeling about that competition, and I felt that was probably our way back into into the Champions League next year, ending that trophy drought. And of course, the Europa League, it's a very still prestigious competition. Obviously, Spurs, we've got some good history in that competition, so I was really looking forward to that. But that's obviously out the window now. So all the focus is on the Premier League. And yes, obviously, it's still tricky. There's a lot of teams up there. We've got Chelsea, West Ham, Liverpool and Everton all competing for that fourth place spot. But we're still within the race for the top four. And, you do look at that squad and there is still so much talent in there. Yes, I don't think a lot of them aren't quite showing at the moment. They're just not getting the best out of them. But if we can somehow make it click, there's still something that we can salvage from this season. Of course, the cup final as well. But I think the top four, it looks tricky, but we're still within contention. So there's still definitely something to play for in the Premier League.
Jamie, the team lineup is just about a minute away. Any players that you think Jose Mourinho might leave out today?
Well, for me, I think Gareth Bale, I can see him definitely being one. I know he's also been rumoured that he might get left out, but I think, you know, that you certainly maybe question his attitude. Well, not his attitude, but the way he went missing in the North London derby. I think I was very, very excited to see him against Arsenal, and he just kind of was a complete passenger in that game. And you know, I mean, he went off and he looked very annoyed and frustrated, but that he'd been brought off, but he just didn't really show up. And I can kind of see him, and you know the way Mourinho's like, sometimes he does like to really make statements by dropping players, and I think that Gareth Bale is one that he's not quite taken to. So I can kind of see that one being, I can see Gareth Bale being dropped for sure.
Jamie, you're absolutely right. Gareth Bale is on the bench today. The team news has just come in. Hugo Lloris in goal, of course, our captain. And then we've got the back four of Japhet Tanganga, Joe Rodon, Davinson Sanchez and Sergio Reguilon. In midfield, we've got Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Of course, we missed him big time on Thursday. Tanguy Ndombele, Giovanni Lo Celso is in the starting 11. Lucas Moura, Carlos Vinicius, a rare start for him in Premier League football. And, of course, Harry Kane up front. Substitutes today, Joe Hart, Eric Dyer, Ben Davis, Moussa Sissoko, Dele Alli, Stephen Bergwijn, Gareth Bale, Dane Scarlett and Alfie Devine. Jamie, what are your initial thoughts on that starting 11?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot to kind of discuss there. I mean, firstly, Tanganga, I'm really happy to see him come back into the side. I think that it was a weird one because he was thrown into the deep end against Man City at right back. What's happening there?
Jamie, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I think I don't know what's happening. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can see you. I can hear you. Yeah, no problem.
So obviously Tanganga, as I was saying, he was really thrown in at the deep end against Manchester City, and I thought he did relatively well. And then of course he was just dropped, and we never really saw him again. I think it was the same with Joe Rodon. He had kind of one little error against Liverpool, but otherwise I thought he'd been pretty solid for Spurs, and we didn't see much of him. So it's nice to see him back in the team. Again, as you said, we really missed Højbjerg against Dynamo Zagreb, so that was a huge miss for Spurs. So I think that's really key that he's back in the team today, of course. And I think it was good that he had a rest. I mean, obviously gutted that we were without him, but he's had that opportunity to rest. Now he's had a week off, so we'll see how kind of because I think he'd kind of dropped in form a bit. I think people were questioning him a bit, but he's played so much football this year, so maybe having a slight rest. Obviously, it was an enforced rest, of course. Lo Celso, I'm definitely excited to see him back. I think that he's been a huge miss for Spurs. I know lots of fans will kind of question. He gets injured quite a lot, but for me, I still think he's a fantastic player on his day. On his day, he's one of the best kind of midfielders at the club, if not one of the best attacking midfielders in the Premier League. So that's brilliant to see. And yeah, Vinicius starting alongside Kane. That's very interesting. I mean, I've not been particularly impressed, I have to say, by Vinicius when he's been given those opportunities. And obviously, he's had, I think he's had some relatively easy opponents when he's done well. But when he's kind of come up against the likes of Chelsea, he's struggled. So be interesting to kind of see how he gets on today, for sure.
Jamie, what do you make of the, Jack Grealish not in the starting 11 for Aston Villa, not on the sub bench either? Even Ross Barkley is on the sub bench for Aston Villa. But they do have some fantastic players. Ollie Watkins has done very well for them this season. How do you see today's game going?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very pleased with that team. As I said, there needed to be changes from our lineup, and it's nice to see that we've kind of really refreshed. So I'm hoping we'll get some sort of response from the players. Yeah, interesting from Aston Villa, of course. I think there was talk that Grealish might be back, which would have been the most typical Spursy thing. Having missed the last 6 games, and I think they've only won once since he's been out in their last 6 matches. So they're obviously a side that's not in the best of form, and they really have missed Jack Grealish. Of course, I'll say this now, and they'll somehow manage to find a result. But no, that's just the way it is. That's their form on paper. So yeah, I mean they've still got some good players. I mean defensively, I like a lot of their players. Of course, Martinez was a great signing from Arsenal, their goalkeeper, and then of course you've got Tyrone Mings, Ezri Konsa, who I think is a very good partnership. Matty Cash, another fantastic signing for them. So yeah, defensively, I think they're a good side. But the last couple of games they have struggled. So I think for Spurs, this is potentially a good opportunity. It's still a big match to kind of really go and put a response. But I'm very happy with our team. So. Should be very interesting.
Jamie, I'm just going to repeat the lineup because a number of people have just joined us. Hugo Lloris in goal, Japhet Tanganga, Joe Rodon, Davinson Sanchez and Sergio Reguilon. And then in midfield, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Tanguy Ndombele, Giovanni Lo Celso and Lucas Moura, and Carlos Vinicius and Harry Kane up front. Now, Jamie, Carlos Vinicius hasn't had many starts in the Premier League for us so far this season. Up front with Harry Kane, are you surprised that Jose Mourinho has gone with both of them today?
Well, I'm not, in fairness, not well. I think it's definitely a surprise because we haven't seen it a lot. But I think it's quite a nice. It's a nice experiment. I think Vinicius, when he has played up top along by himself, I think he's kind of struggled. So perhaps having Harry Kane alongside him will certainly help him. So that would be definitely interesting to see kind of how those two get on together. I think that's very interesting and. Excited to see kind of how they get on together. I think that's definitely an interesting one.
Jamie, I've got to ask while you're on the show, Jose Mourinho, obviously split an opinion in the fan base. How do you feel about the manager right now?
Blimey. Look, I have to admit, I'm kind of 50-50 in terms of I am slightly. I mean, look, that was, again, as I said, it was a massive blow to have lost that to be knocked out the Europa League. I think that was really kind of the one thing we were pinning our hopes on this year. So I was actually surprised that maybe there wasn't kind of more speculation surrounding Jose Mourinho's job. It's just, I mean, look, I think at the end of the season, it's something that Spurs will have to review. It just hasn't quite worked for Spurs. Having said that, as I said, this season is still salvageable. There's still a chance of the top four. Of course, there's a chance of a trophy being delivered with the cup final. A very difficult chance, of course, against Manchester City, but there's still a chance. So for me, it's something we'd have to review at the end of the season. But look, I think right now, if you sack him, I don't see what that changes. I think you bring in an interim appointment. There's no obvious interim appointment. So for me, I think you just stick with him until the end of the season. And then I think you have to assess at the end of the season kind of what we've ended up with. If we've got the top four and we've got a cup, then that's a successful season. And then maybe you look to kind of go with him again if you are going to go and back him. I think that's the big thing. We have to go, if we're going to keep Jose Mourinho, we've really got to back him. We've got to go and get him a big central defender because that's something we really miss. So I think for me, it's something that's to be assessed at the end of the season, Jose Mourinho's position.
Jamie, talking about the central defence there, of course, Joe Rodon and Davinson Sanchez play there today. And, of course, the fullbacks, Sergio Reguilon and Javat Tanganga. Now, of course, Jose Mourinho's changed the back four yet again. Is this a forced decision after these two dreadful results and dreadful performances?
For me, I think it's the right decision for sure. I mean, again, it was just odd because I thought that Joe Rodon was doing very well for Spurs. And then, of course, I rate him very highly. I think he's a very good youngster, and he's come in and done well when he's had that opportunity. And then hopefully this time he can go and impress again. Tanganga, I mean, you look at our options at right back already. You see the likes of Serge Aurier and Matt Doherty. They've just not performed this season. So, I'm happy to see Tanganga come into the team. Interesting with Sanchez. I thought he had a very poor game against Zagreb on Thursday, but I think alongside Rodon, that's an interesting partnership. I personally would have gone with Alderweireld. I think that Alderweireld is still our best centre back at the club. So interesting one.
Jamie, a super chat here from Gary. So thank you very much for your question here, Gary. About time Joe Rodon gets a start. I know you're a big fan of Joe Rodon, Jamie, so I know you'll be very happy about that. Great to see Javat Tanganga at right back. Over the moon, Giovanni Lo Celso and Tanguy Ndombele are starting. Very happy with the team. And I must say that all of the comments coming in during this stream, everyone is very, very happy with this starting 11. Gary is predicting a 3-0 win today. Jamie, are you feeling confident that Tottenham will pick up the 3 points? Because I'm going to go for a 2-1 Tottenham win today. I think that we're going to do it. We have to do it, don't we?
Yeah, there's got to be a response for sure. And as I said, the season is still salvageable. We can still get something from this season. We are still, we're only 6 points off the top four. So you've got to really start, but you have to believe that we can still do it. Today is massive. I think, as we said, there's no Jack Grealish for Aston Villa. He is a massive miss. Yes, they've still got good players around them, but he is their talisman. It's like taking Harry Kane out of our team. You see how we struggle when we don't have Harry Kane. And I think that for Villa, it's been the same. They've struggled. I think they've drawn the last two. They lost before that. As I said, they've only got one win in the last 6. So it's a team we have to be going and beating today. And of course, we desperately need that response after the last two performances. It was shocking against Arsenal, shocking against Dynamo Zagreb. So really, you know, they need to be professional today and get that job done. But it's nice to see that we've looked to try and change things by really rotating the lineup. And I'm confident. I agree with the people in the chat. I think they're right that it's nice to see lots of changes today. And I'm happy with the 11. And score prediction, I think I'm going to go for a 3-1 Spurs win. I'm going to go one up you and say we'll get the win today.
Is it amazing, Jamie? I did a show last night with 3 other Spurs fans, and even after the week that we've had, we're all predicting that Tottenham are going to win. It is all about the reaction, though, isn't it?
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, look, this is the annoying thing. I mean, look, Spurs, we've still got such a talented squad there. You look at the players that have still been included. You know, you've been able to rotate. You've still got Højbjerg and Ndombele, Harry Kane, Lo Celso coming into the team. You know, you've got youngsters like Tanganga, Rodon coming into the team. So there's still lots that can kind of be got out of this squad. I think that's maybe one thing that that's why it's so frustrating, because I feel as though there is so much more to this squad. I feel as though this team, at least our 11, I know there's still areas in the team that need to be improved if we really were serious about doing big things, winning trophies, really being in the top 4. But I still feel as though there is kind of enough in this squad to get into the top 4, to maybe win a trophy like the Carabao Cup or maybe the Europa League. So that's why it's been so frustrating this season that we've gone out the FA Cup, gone out the Europa League, but still a chance in the Premier League. And I still think there's something to be positive about. And yeah, really pleased with the lineup, as I said. So let's hope they can give us some sort of response today.
Jamie, if I was to ask you now, particularly after the week we've had and going into this game, and this is the last question for you, where do you think, realistically, Tottenham will finish at the end of this season?
Yeah, look, I think it is difficult because there's some serious competition. Everton, as I said, Everton, Liverpool, West Ham, Chelsea, and then of course you've got Leicester all competing for the top 4. There's still some serious clubs there. You know, you can potentially see Liverpool coming back into form. Everton, yes, they've lost their last 2, but I still think they're a dangerous side. And then of course West Ham threw away a lead today, but they showed they went 3-0 up against Arsenal. There's certainly talent in that team. Oh, blimey, that's a difficult question. I'm going to back us. I think we can get into the 4th. I think we can get 4th spot. I agree with all the people in the chat. I think that this squad is talented enough to get 4th. Yeah, not sure. 7th, okay. Oh, yeah, I'll prefer that comment. No, yeah. 8th, no. Blimey. Yeah, I mean, look, you know, after the week we've had, you can obviously, you know, the direction that we are going, it's not been ideal, but let's really hope we can get a response today. I think Lo Celso being back's massive. I think that he came on and had a positive impact. Yes, of course, we still went on to lose the game, but you saw signs of him kind of, if he keeps getting back up to speed, he's going to be crucial for us. So to have him back in the midfield, I think he's one player we've really missed. Kind of that guy who can really carry the ball forwards, that can create opportunities. So I'm excited to see him in the lineup. And I think it'll be interesting with Vinicius and Kane. I think that's definitely an interesting one. As I said, we haven't seen Vinicius play with a partner really. So to have him alongside Harry Kane, that's definitely going to be an interesting one for him. And of course, you know, we've seen the way Harry Kane plays. He's a guy who's now kind of adapted his role. He can drop deep. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays off Vinicius. So yeah, I don't know why. It's weird because after that Thursday night, it absolutely killed me. But for some weird reason, I do feel kind of optimistic and quite excited about today's game. So yeah.
Well, it's a huge game, Jamie, because obviously the international break starts after this game. So if Tottenham can win and go only 3 points away from top 4, I think that it would give Jose Mourinho, the players, and some of us fans, not all, but some of us fans, the hope that we can finish in that top 4 spot and get Champions League football next season, which is an absolute must. Some people are asking for the team again. I'll read the team out again before we go, Jamie, if you don't mind. Hugo Lloris in goal, Japhet Tanganga, Joe Rodon, Davinson Sanchez and Sergio Reguilon, and then in midfield, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Tanguy Ndombele, Giovanni Lo Celso, Lucas Moura, Carlos Vinicius and Harry Kane. Jamie, enjoy the game and thank you very much for joining me, and let's hope that Tottenham can get 3 points. I'll see you on the next video, everyone. Thank you very much for all of your questions. Enjoy the game. I'll see you straight after the game for a Spurs chat with 3 big Spurs fans, as we will be discussing the Aston Villa v Spurs match. Anyway, enjoy the game and come on, you Spurs.